Imagine in the middle of a soul-tearing snowstorm in 1930. On the boundless pure white ice sheet of Greenland, a tiny lonely dot was moving slowly. That was Alfred Wegener, who had just turned 50. Braving temperatures of -50 degrees Celsius, he tried to deliver much-needed supplies to his companions stranded deep in the ice. On this very day, he vanished forever into the silent, almost pristine polar night. Tonight, let us sit by the flickering firelight and walk through his true life with this story you need not strive to remember. This man spent his whole life trying to prove an almost crazy idea. The solid heavy earth beneath our feet drifts across the ocean just like an iceberg. In his time, people mocked and ostracized him, calling him an amateur meteorologist who dared to meddle in the sacred realm of geology. Yet he silently packed his bags and journeyed time and again to the coldest, loneliest corners of the world. He believed the earth would reveal its truth to him. The first crack in Alfred Wegener's fate came on an extraordinarily peaceful afternoon. It was Germany in 1910, and he lay in a hospital bed browsing an atlas. Most people look at maps to find the end of a journey, but he sought the origin of the earth. His gaze lingered long on the coastline of West Africa and East South America. In that moment, a wild yet fascinating thought crossed his mind. If these two continents were pushed together like jigsaw puzzle pieces, they would fit perfectly edge to edge. This thought did not pass like a shooting star, but took root deeply in his mind. He began gathering evidence relentlessly, from identical ancient fossil species separated by thousands of miles to perfectly matching rock layers on opposite shores. He discovered that in the distant era he named Pangaea, the world was once one. But he was only a doctor of meteorology, dedicated to studying wind patterns and cloud movements. This boundary-crossing pursuit made him a heretic in the eyes of geological elites. They asked arrogantly, if the earth moves, what force drives these trillion-ton landmasses? Alfred could not offer a perfect explanation for the dynamic mechanism. He only wrote in his diary, "Truth is already there. Our vision is simply not broad enough." The cold rejection from mainstream academia never stopped him. Instead, it filled him with an almost religious sense of mission. If theories cannot convince you, I will find undeniable facts myself. Driven by his longing for truth, Alfred Wegener chose the hardest path. He believed the glacial movement in Greenland might provide the most direct evidence for continental drift. Thus he embarked on countless polar expeditions. Amid Greenland's pure, cruelly beautiful wilderness, he found an unprecedented sense of tranquility. He endured long polar nights inside a small tent, with gales strong enough to snap masts raging outside and a dim kerosene lamp glowing within. In such harsh surroundings, he measured not only the ice sheet but also his own soul. This pursuit came at a great cost. He suffered severe frostbite during expeditions, even losing partial mobility. Those years were filled with tension as he struggled against the turmoil of his era. When World War I broke out, he was conscripted as a reserve officer. He was wounded twice on the brutal battlefield and sent back to recover. During his convalescence, he completed his groundbreaking work, The Origin of Continents and Oceans. Even amid destruction and chaos outside, he quietly mended his dream of a drifting earth in his heart. He was like a poet living in a turbulent age, still striving to listen to the breath of the earth. Inner perseverance sustained him through those long years of misunderstanding and isolation. His final Greenland expedition in 1930 became the most tragic chapter of Alfred Wegener's life. At 50 years old, he could have enjoyed a settled professorship at the University of Marburg, living out his days quietly despite ongoing disputes over his theories. But he learned that supplies had run out at a remote research station in central Greenland. Without food and fuel, the young researchers there would not survive the brutal winter. Deep human compassion drove him once more onto the snow-blanketed death land. Accompanied by 2 companions and 15 dog sleds, he set out to cross the storm-battered uninhabited ice wilderness. It became a marathon race against death. Supplies dwindled, brutal weather closed in, and even the strongest sled dogs collapsed one after another. At the fateful turning point, Alfred decided to let his companions retreat first. On his 50th birthday, he set off alone with the remaining supplies toward the desperate outpost. By then, his thoughts were no longer fixed on plague movement, but on preserving every precious human life. He finally reached the station. After a simple birthday celebration, he immediately began the journey back. It was the last time he appeared in human sight. Clad in heavy furs, he walked toward the heart of the storm under the faint polar twilight. He took with him not only his own life but also the truths still questioned by the world. His departure was quiet and restrained, as if he had always belonged to the vast silent glaciers. After Alfred Wegener's death, controversy over his theories did not fade away quickly. Even in his obituary, academic authorities still scoffed at continental drift as absurd nonsense. His body was found a year later, buried deep beneath snow by his companions, with his beloved pipe resting over his chest. He lay peacefully in Greenland's embrace, his body drifting slowly with the glacier toward the ocean year after year. It was a fateful ending. He spent his life speaking of drift, and in the end, he himself became part of this grand natural movement. 30 years later, as seismographs and ocean exploration technology uncovered the secret of seafloor spreading, the world realized with shock that this underestimated meteorologist mocked all his life had been right. His name began to appear on the opening pages of every geography textbook. Those who once ridiculed him had long turned to dust, while Alfred Wegener achieved eternal life beneath the polar ice, in the river of truth. This vindication spanning half a century carries a profound desolate power. It teaches us that truth does not need to be shouted aloud to prove itself, it only needs time, and a calm heart willing to sacrifice everything for it. Now the snowstorms over Greenland have settled. The lonely explorer has long become one with the earth. Alfred Wegener spent his life solving the mystery of continental movement, and showing the world how noble a soul can remain amid misunderstanding. His story holds no impassioned speeches, only deep footprints left step by step across the ice. Tonight, close your eyes and try to feel the slow movement of the earth. You will find that no matter how broken the world appears, it is deeply connected at its core. Just as Wegener discovered, all things will eventually return to unity. Now, accompanied by this tale you need not memorize, let go of all your burdens on this quiet night. Imagine the pure tranquil ice field, starlight shining down, everything returning to its original order. Sink peacefully into dreams amid the warmth of the earth. Good night. If the earth could move like a jigsaw puzzle, would you devote your entire life to proving it? Alfred Wegener was once deemed a madman by the entire scientific community. Lying in his hospital bed, he flipped through a world map and captured the moment that reshaped human understanding. Tonight, let us listen to this story of tectonic plates and solitude. He sought evidence amid the harshest bitter cold, holding within his grasp a secret powerful enough to overturn geography. Alfred Wegener's life ended amid the endless white expanse of Greenland. This is a true legend of patience, perseverance, and self-sacrifice. May starlight and auroras guide you into peaceful dreams. Good night. Alfred Wegener's story holds no shortcuts, only decades of ridicule, cold disdain, and survival in the polar wilderness. He pieced together the fragmented history of the earth, yet vanished alone into the silent snowfields. Beside the gently flickering fire, let us step into his vast quiet life. Sweet dreams.